Hi, this is Raina Rakicki from the Podcast Growth Club podcast. I joined Adam's online business academy for podcasters because I needed help not only with growing my own podcast coaching business, but also for my clients. It has been super helpful because he lays everything out into different sections and you can hyper analyze where your funnel's not working. Whether it's from your email engagement to the type of lead magnets you have, it's incredible. In addition, Adam has some rad spreadsheets that would take us hours upon hours to do ourselves, but he just hands them out to us. I can't think of anything that's better than that. Thanks so much, Adam. The Online Business Academy has been a game changer, not only for myself, but also for my clients.
Hey there, Pod Pals. Do you feel like you could use a little bit of help with your podcast launch, growth, or with converting your podcast listeners into becoming your best clients? I want you to head on over to my website, www.podcastingbusiness.school, and watch the 4-minute video that talks about who I help and exactly how I can help them out. Next, I want you to click on the Discovery Call button to set up a free podcast profit potential discovery call where we can talk about working together to help you reach your podcasting and online business goals. Head on over to my website, www.podcastingbusiness.school, and get signed up for your free podcast profit potential discovery call. What's up, Pod Pals? It's your buddy Adam, and you are listening to Podcasting Business School. It's a show where I teach podcasters simple strategies to help you make more money, get more clients, and build a profitable online business. Pod Pals, I am excited to be here with you today because we're talking about a big frustration point. It was a big frustration point for me as I entered the online business space 10 years ago now. It's kind of unbelievable to me that it's been 10 years, but that is the fact. And it was really frustrating early on. And I see a lot of parallels between what I went through 2015, 2016, 2017 to that compared to what a lot of you are going through currently. All right, so let's fix that. The main purpose, the main driver behind this whole Podcasting Business School brand is to help you skip past a lot of the frustration points, as many as possible, that I experienced early on. So today we're talking about my online business evolution from having a consulting offer into a scalable group coaching offer. I call this my offer evolution protocol. I did, I do a free workshop at the end of every month. At the end of June, I did kind of a mini workshop on this concept, and it went over extremely well. I saw a lot of light bulbs going off. I'm like, okay, let's keep driving on this topic because I feel like this is something that you guys need. If you're trying to leverage your show to get clients, I know that you're out there trying a lot of stuff when it comes to your offers, and that's good because we got to have something to sell our people, right? Like people are like, hey, you're my person. Let's work together. How do we work together? You need to have some answers to that question. That's very important. But I see a lot of you kind of just throwing darts at the offer dartboard going, oh, Adam's got a membership. Let's do a membership. Oh, Adam talked about consulting. Let's do consulting. Or so-and-so has a mastermind. I need to do a mastermind or a live event or whatever. And we're just kind of trying different things. And this leads to a lot of offers that kind of go side by side. And it's like, okay, we got this offer over here and this other one way over here, different topics, which none of that's a bad thing, but there's no real structure. There's no rhyme or reason, and it's not very efficient. So what I'm going to lay out to you today is the step-by-step evolution that I teach to my online business academy for podcasters. So when you come in, this is what we go through. Like, okay, do you have this? Okay, then go to the next step. Okay, then we can go to the next step. And so this is really, really important. And it's going to save you a lot of time, a lot of frustration. And you may be at different points in this. You may have to back up a little bit. You may be ready to go forward a little bit. But the goal of this episode is to provide clarity. Like every week, we hang out together. You feel like there's some simplification going on, hopefully, and you get a little bit more of a clearer picture of what your online business might be able to look like. All right. I'm going to share examples of what I'm doing or what I did in my own evolution. And I've got some pro tips for you at the end that I think are going to be really, really helpful. All right. So I have talked about this a lot, but I'll hammer it again today because I feel like a lot of you are skipping this step. All right. I feel like your first offer needs to be some sort of what I call a start anytime consulting offer. This is usually a 14 to 90 day consulting protocol where people are like, hey, I heard you on so-and-so's podcast. Let's talk about working together. You do a discovery call. They're like, yes, when can we start? You go, we can start next Monday. Here are my options. And these one-on-one consulting offers sell really well as independent podcasters because this is how we can stand out from the big brands. The big brands, you got to pay thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, 20s of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars to work with these people. And for the independent, smaller brand podcaster, it's like you can get one-on-one consulting, $500, $1,500, $2,000. So that's much more accessible. And you hear all the, I even use this term in the title of this episode, scalable. Everybody's obsessed with scaling, but first you have to have something to scale. And we have to get your bills paid. And we have to start making money and build your confidence, build your expertise, and figure out the sweet spot between your expertise, what you're interested in coaching, and what your audience needs from you, and what pain points they need to have solved. I believe that the best way to do that is with a start anytime consulting offer, one-on-one, simple. And again, I don't like to label these. So for me, like different pain points I can solve with a one-on-one consulting offer: podcast launch, podcast growth, online business development, listener to client conversion. Those are all different verticals. So I don't have a consulting offer that's specific to any of those. I just, you guys hear me talk about my discovery calls all the time. Are you struggling with any of these things? Let's hop on a discovery call. Let's figure out the best option and the best price point that works for you. And that's what we'll go with. So I think a lot of people stress out early on of, it's got to be the 14-day podcast launch, blah, 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 the podcast growth, blah, blah, blah. I don't label any of it, especially early on, especially if you haven't sold any offers yet. One of my biggest issues early on was I really had no idea what my audience actually wanted from me. I had a health brand. I kind of wanted to do all this mindset stuff. Nobody wanted to buy the mindset stuff. They wanted like the weight loss stuff. So that's where I had to start. And then we worked on mindset within the weight loss stuff. But I didn't know that until I started getting clients and working with them hands-on. So this is a nimble offer. It's very flexible. Like I said, usually these are in the 14 to 90 day range. Inside the academy, I teach people how to do a 14-day and then some sort of longer version that's either 30, 60, or 90 days, which it's just more consulting time with you, basically. Different price point, obviously. But really 3 very simple components to this first offer. All right. And you can have this up and running today. All right. So if you do a discovery call later today, you can have this up and running by that discovery call. That's the goal. Simple 3 components. First one is one-on-one consulting time with you. I'll give you an example of what I do here in a second, but just some one-on-one time with you. You're on Zoom, you're coaching. The second thing is some sort of connection method outside of your consulting time. Email, simple. I like to use Voxer. It could be something else, some other form of communication. So they got a quick question. How do they reach out to you? And what kind of access do they have? What are the rules? And then this is just kind of an add-on. I like to keep Google Docs or Google Sheets where I'll share resources, notes from our sessions. I track things. I kind of track their homework, my homework, things like that. That's it. I don't build out an online course. There's no built out online course component for my consulting offers and the ones that I teach my clients to do. All right. They are paying you for that time. This is something interesting that came up with one of my clients, that she is doing a lot of work outside of the consulting time. I'm like, that's not how consulting works. Like, they pay for 3 hours of consulting with you, then you are doing the work during that 3-hour time block. It's not, hey, let's put this work in. And then also I want you to go listen to, me do this TED talk that is an hour long or something like that outside of that consulting time. So consulting time is consulting time. They get what they pay for, and you over deliver during that time period. So it's very, very simple. But what happens is you start to, like for me, early on, I did a lot of podcast launch and growth consulting. I was like, all right, I kind of get the key issues that keep popping up that I keep having to spend time on coaching over and over and over again. And that's how I evolved into the next offer. And we'll get that into a second here. So here's an example of what my 14-day consulting protocol looks like. So, and this is something that I still have. That's the cool thing about this offer evolution protocol is that none of these die off. I can still sell these one-on-one, even though my focus point now is more on my scalable group coaching offer. These all still exist. All right. Fun fact, you won't see links for any of these consulting options anywhere on my website. The only time I talk about them is when I'm teaching this concept. So that's just another fun fact, because I feel like a lot of people are like, I got to launch this. I got to do a campaign. I got to do a big launch protocol. I hardly ever talk about this. I hardly ever talk about my podcast launch stuff. And I'm selling those almost weekly. I've had 3 podcast launches, client launches within the last 10 days. So just something to keep in mind. All right. Here's what my 14-day protocol looks like. On day 1, I do a 45-minute session with the client. On day 8, 9, or 10, we do a 15-minute follow-up. During the entire 14-day period, they get unlimited access to ask questions on Voxer. I've got rules on like certain days, you'll get almost immediate response. Other days, like weekends, it'll be like next day or something like that. So you kind of lay some rules out there. And I keep a Google Sheet with notes. Like I said, my homework, their homework, notes for the next session. Most of the Google Sheet stuff is for me. But then sometimes I've got some resources that I want to share with them. I just have little reminders on there or whatever. So simple. And we can focus on anything. And that is, I mean, with this consulting offer, you can do 6 figures a year off of just this. All right. Now it is more time intensive because it's one-on-one. All right. So that's something to consider. Now, like I mentioned earlier, a second ago, as I did more of these initial offers, I started to figure out certain topics and certain pain points that I was covering the same thing over and over and over again. That's when I finally go, okay, I'm getting these same podcast launch questions about what microphone, what hosting service, first 4 episode protocol, launch protocol, naming, art. That's when I decided I'm going to save myself time and I'm going to enhance the results of my clients by creating an online course component and making this a signature offer. So now that evolved into my podcast launch blueprint program. Same thing happened where I was like, okay, podcast growth stuff. That evolved into my download growth club. All right. But I started creating online course resources. Once I had coached several clients over and over and over again in these consulting protocols, I'm like, okay, this is repeatable. This is what everybody is struggling with. These are the questions that everybody has. So like with my launch program, now I don't have to spend any of our one-on-one consulting time talking about microphones, whether you should use Libsyn or whatever, like all that is taken care of with the course so that when we do spend one-on-one time, it's more efficient and effective and focused on implementing specific to you. What do you specifically need to do? How do we optimize for you? And so now we get better results, faster results. People pay for quickness, speed to result. All right. And they get all the online video resources. So with the signature offer, obviously we level up the price a little bit and we're just adding an online course component basically to the first offer. So with my podcast launch blueprint, as an example, you have a giant course, you have 5 coaching sessions with me, and we still get Voxer access. So it's the same thing as my initial consulting offer, but now we just added that online course and the price goes up. All right. A few little tweaks here and there, but then I did that with my download growth club, and I've done that with my podcast listener client conversion program. So you can have these kind of side-by-side signature offers that are specific. Hey, you want to work one-on-one with me? Cool. Here's my signature offer to solve this pain point. It's a course plus coaching, plus the Voxer access. Bam. That's a signature offer. Now, you do enough of those, you start having people graduate from these and they go, Coach, what's next? I just did your podcast launch blueprint program. I have launched my show. I still want to keep working together. What do you got? And that's where the group coaching comes into play. And I know a lot of you are there, and some of you have been doing consulting and you've had people kind of go through, and now you've got a little, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 clients that have kind of graduated and they're looking for that next thing. That's where this 3-tier group coaching offer can begin. But I do believe you need to go through the first two steps. And those are great components of your business. Like I still sell the individual consulting. I still sell my signature offer options all the time, almost every single week. It's great. I appreciate you guys for buying those things. And so those don't go away. Now we just have kind of an evolving and ascending offer with this 3-tier group coaching offer that I'm about to describe, where things get really efficient for you and for your clients. All right. So I'm going to describe the 3-tier group coaching offer, which is kind of the next evolution. And I'm going to use my online business academy for podcasters as an example here, because I just kicked off this protocol with the 3 tiers. We've had 1 tier, now I've broken it up into 3, and so far so good. All right. So tier 1 with a 3-tier group coaching offer. Tier 1 needs to have 2 basic components: group coaching and online resources. So now that you've done some of these signature offers, you've got online resources, you've got some course, you got some videos, and now you can take that and go, okay, I'm going to give my group people access to these online resources. All right. So, and then you've got some sort of a group coaching cadence of where you're meeting up on Zoom or wherever, once a month, every other week, every week, whatever. All right. And with this type of group coaching, it is usually on a specific topic. So inside of the academy, I'm showing up, I give them a preview, like, hey, this week we're talking about building our offer, or this week we're talking about doing discovery calls, or this week we're talking about collaboration opportunities. So I'm coming in with a specific topic to teach on. Every once in a while it's open Q&A, but it's mostly me directing education on a specific topic. All right. So that's tier 1. So inside of Online Business Academy for Podcasters, what that means for that group is every other week we're doing group coaching. So every other Wednesday we do group coaching together. And then they've got access to over 100 videos on growth and monetization, like all the stuff I've compiled for, growth and online business development over the last several years. They get access to all that, and I kind of organize it up into modules. All right. So, but that's simple. Tier 1, group coaching on specific topics, certain cadence, and then online resources. Bam. That's a tier 1 group coaching offer. Tier 2, the only thing we change as we go up in tiers is the amount of access to you. All right. This is an important point. I was coaching somebody from the academy last week on this topic, and they were a little bit confused because they had 3 different offers or 3 different pain points. They were assessing 3 different things with tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. I said, these are 3 different offers. This isn't an ascending offer on one topic. So this is all my online business academy for podcasters. There are 3 tiers. And again, as you ascend up, you're just getting more access to me. It's similar resources, all the same topics. It's just more access to the group, more access to coaching, more access to me. All right. So tier 2, we still have the group coaching every other week. We still have all the online resources. Then we add in 3 other things that, again, ascend up the level of access. So there's a group Voxer chat, which is great. It's like a little mini mastermind on the Voxer app. I love Voxer. It's a free app. You guys should check it out. If you're coaching, it's very effective. We got a little cohort in there, and we can blast questions daily. And I pop in there to answer them. But a lot of people start discussions and collaboration opportunities and things like that. So they got bonus group access there. But if it's like a Thursday afternoon and they're wanting to rebrand their show and they want to get my input on their art, they can do that. Bam. And I'm on it. The next thing we add in is office hours. All right. So for our members, I do office hours every Friday, almost every Friday. Every once in a while, I got to do like this Friday, I'm taking my son to a football camp. So we'll be out of office on that Friday. But most weeks, we're in there once or twice with office hours. And now office hours are different than group coaching. Office hours are you pop in and we work on whatever you need. And I set aside a block of 60 minutes. If 6 people show up, we divide it up. Everybody gets 10 minutes. All right. And you bring a topic, we work on it. So if you're working on your newsletter or a rebrand or an offer or pricing on an offer or whatever, you can pop in and get access to me. Then the third thing that I like with a tier 2 as I coach people through this process is some sort of bonus focus event. One cool thing to do with memberships, or one, I guess, danger zone you have to avoid with memberships, is people being stagnant. And sometimes, like with me, there's a lot of resources in there, and people can kind of get lost in all of the things. So bonus focus events are really nice to have. So this is a boot camp, a challenge, something like that, where okay, the first 7 days of this month, we're doing an intermittent fasting challenge for your health membership, or a steps challenge, or a journaling challenge for your mental health membership, or whatever. So for me, 3 times per year, I'm doing these 21-day boot camps. I just finished a 21-day high value newsletter boot camp that went fantastic. And then this fall, I'm going to be doing a podcast growth boot camp, and the tier 2 members just get those. That's included. All right. I'm doing those for them, and they're included. I just invite everybody else, but everybody else has to pay. All right. So those are included in there. And so those are the 3 add-ons from tier 1 to tier 2. We add in the group connection. I use Voxer. You could do Slack. You could do Telegram chat, Facebook group, somewhere for your community to connect to each other. That's the important part. I add in office hours, pop in access to me, and then bonus focus events. So again, from tier 1 to tier 2, we're leveling up access to the group, access to resources, access to you. Same topic. It's not like if you're struggling with the pain point 1, then you do tier 1, pain point 2, tier 2. That's not what I'm talking about. One pain point, or a through line with the pain points you can solve through the entire tier system. All right, let's talk about tier 3. Tier 3, obviously all the things in tier 1 and tier 2. The main up level is direct access, one-on-one access to you. All right, so now we're going to add in some one-on-one consulting, higher price point. So there's still getting, with the academy, 2 times per month, group coaching, all the videos, the Voxer chat, the office hours, boot camps 3 times per year. And what I do is I add in 90 minutes of one-on-one consulting over a 90-day period. So people that are tier 3 members inside my academy, you're going to get a block of 90 minutes. You can chop that up however you want, 15, 30 minute, 45 minute, 60 minute time blocks. I give my people links for that. So I keep it simple. And I say, hey, you need to use this up by X date, which is 90 days from today. No rollover minutes. It's not like the old singular cell phone plans. Shout out to people that had that back. And that was pretty nice. Back in the day, you had that singular cell phone plan, and you're like, I'm going to bank a few more minutes for next month because I got to call my girlfriend a lot more extra or whatever. So shout out to the old school cell phone plan. But that's not how my consulting hours work. No rollovers. You got to use them up. And that's what they're there for. So that's the only addition from tier 2 to tier 3 is direct one-on-one access to you. All right. So quick recap on just the components. Tier 1, group coaching plus online resources. We level up to tier 2. We add more group access. So we have office hours, some sort of group chat, Voxer, Slack, whatever, and then bonus focus events. And then tier 2 to tier 3, we just add one-on-one consulting. We're not building new courses and all this other stuff for each tier. Keep this simple. The price levels up because of access to the group, access to you, all right, and extra support. That's the pricing. Now let's talk about pricing, some structure. You guys always have pricing questions, and honestly, pricing is a topic that is still slightly confusing to me, but I've gotten so much more clarity on it just because I've spent time in the game. 10 years in the game, you figure a few things out. So I'm going to give you a basic protocol to use for pricing. Don't feel like you absolutely have to use this, but this is just a place to start. All right. So usually from tier 1 to tier 2, you're going to up level the price by about 1.5x. And then from tier 2 to tier 3, it should be another 2x increase. Let me give you specific numbers. So if tier 1, you're charging $100 a month, from tier 1 to tier 2, we're going to 1.5 that. So 100 times 1.5 is 150 per month. All right. And then we go from tier 2 to tier 3, we're 2xing tier 2 price. So from tier 2 to tier 3, we go from 150 a month to 300 per month. Those are just basic numbers. That is not what I charge. I charge more than this. But that's just basic math examples. And that's just a place to start. Now, I've got 4 pro tips to kind of tie up this concept. We're 24 minutes in. I gotta put this baby to bed. We can't have another 45-minute solo episode over here with your buddy Adam. All right. So pro tip number 1 is when I've been working with my clients on this, one strategy, especially if you already have some higher ticket consulting offers, I think you should probably price tier 3 first and work backwards, because you don't want to get to that tier 3 and go, ugh, that's not very much. I don't want you to, I was working with a client last week and I said, well, we can go this, and this. I kind of the basic tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And I literally feel like I saw her throw up in her mouth a little bit when I got to that tier 3 price. I was like, that's not enough, is it? She's like, not even close. Like, okay, let's start with tier 3 and work backwards. So we can price tier 3, then divide by 2, and then, use the math backwards. So that could be effective, especially if you need to hit a very specific price point when you add in consulting. And you should. Like at each price point, you should feel like, you're really excited that sale just came through. Cool. I feel that my value is being priced correctly on what I can deliver on, but you also feel like you can over deliver and that you're going to get great results for that person. Remember, with tier 2 and tier 3, you can always add in extra value to justify the price with like those online resources. So maybe we create some more PDFs, some Google Sheets, another little mini course, give them another challenge. But I don't want you to get to tier 3 and go, one of my favorite movies of all time is Napoleon Dynamite. So you don't want to have that Napoleon Dynamite moment where he worked on that chicken farm, whatever, and he's counting out all the change. Like, I got paid $1 an hour. We don't want that with tier 3. All right. That's my Napoleon Dynamite impersonation, y'all. So consider pricing tier 3 first and working backwards. And again, if that exact math of 1.5 and 2x, don't stress out about that. That's just loose. All right. That's just some math starting points for you to kind of anchor in on. All right. Pro tip number 2. I want you to consider the commitment time frame from the client perspective of each tier. What I mean by this, is this a $100 per month, or do we go $300 for 90 days? I actually mix and match. My tier 1 is a month to month. Tier 2 and tier 3 are 90-day commitments, revolving. Why do I do this? I want a tier 1 to be that person that needs to be a little bit lower budget and a little bit like hesitant to commit at a higher level. It's like a taste test. All right. So I charge per month at tier 1, and then tier 2 and tier 3, higher commitment level. I'm like, all right, if we're going to play at this level together and you get that level of access to me, I don't need you. I need you for 90 days. I need to know that you're in this for at least 90 days so that we can put in some serious time together. All right. So that is something to consider. It does not have to be uniform. Like I just said, tier 1 for me is month to month. Tier 2 and tier 3, 90-day revolving recurring membership. All right. Pro tip number 3, consider doing a free trial, but just for one of the tiers. I would not consider a free trial for anything that involves one-on-one consulting. That is not a good idea. So that gets a big red X emoji for tier 3. Do not do a free trial for tier 3. My only free trial is for tier 2. So when you go on my sales page, which I'll put the link in the show notes in case you guys, A, are thinking about joining, but B, you just kind of want to see how I lay this out. You will notice that I've got 10-day free trial links on there, but that's only for tier 2. All right. So like I said, tier 1, kind of a taste test, lower time commitment, lower price point to start. And if people want to do that, they can start right away. But let's go. To me, tier 2 is my favorite starting point. That's why I'm putting that 10-day free trial on that. I'm like, hey, I'd love to have you taste test this. And then during that free trial, maybe they're like, well, this is great, but I don't think the price point is going to work for me. Let's throttle back to tier 1. Or they're like, hey, I actually would love to get more one-on-one access to you. I feel like this is a good fit, but I decide I need more time with more Adam time. Let's pay for tier 3. Or they just stick with tier 2. Perfect fit. So that's a great starting point position. That tier 2 is going to get them access to a lot of support, a lot of resources. And that's why I prefer to get people started. So I put a free trial on that. I feel like it's going to sell itself. Pro tip number 4, final pro tip, final point today is I want you to strongly consider doing onboarding sessions at each tier, even tier 1. You don't have to do tier 1, but I would strongly consider it because here's the deal. With any group coaching, with any membership, the key is you want to get people into action ASAP. Like I would put a 72-hour alarm. If somebody signs up, I want to get on Zoom with them within 72 hours, at a minimum within 7 days. If it goes past 7 days, they're probably not going to renew. All right. Especially if they're doing a free trial. Like even if people are doing a free trial, I'm hunting them down. Let's do your onboarding session. They're going to get 2-3 emails like almost daily. Hey, here's the link, hop on my calendar. Here's the link, hop on my calendar. And here's the deal. Like I am fully aware that, in this academy, you're going to log in there and they see multiple modules, hundreds of videos, all of these things. And I'm Mr. Let's keep things simple. So I'm like, I realize that this is a little contradictory. And I tell people the language I use is like, hey, let's hop on an onboarding session. There's a lot in here. I want to give you 2 or 3 things to focus on, maybe just one, but we got to hop on the onboarding session so I can get a little bit more information from you. And I'm going to direct you to exactly where I want you to start so that there's no overwhelm. You don't need to worry about anything else, just that. So it's of benefit to the members. It helps greatly with retention because now they've got traction. Now they can let go of the rest. It'll still be there. Just focus on this first step. Here's the first domino that I need you to push over as a member of this academy. All right. So again, even at the tier 1, I'm hunting people down for that. And I do them. I do them all. And a lot of people are surprised by that because, I thought this was scalable and I thought this and that. I'm like, well, every member to me is of high value. And honestly, like the more of this scalable academy offer that I've got going, the more people I have join, the less one-on-one consulting I have to do on these other offers. So I've got more time and my time is leveraged. And I'm like, wow, this is great. So I have time to be able to do these onboarding sessions because I'm not, doing all this other stuff. I'm very focused on this offer. So just keep that in mind. I know that for those of you that are really focused on scalability, then this may be a no-go, but it will help greatly with retention. And even if it can't be you, a next best thing would be a team member. You've got, some assistants, some other team members, just doing some sort of an onboarding session. The goal of an onboarding session is to explain what they have access to, kind of explain the rules a little bit. Like with the Voxer chat, I tell people the rules. I've got very specific rules inside of Voxer, what kind of messages, how long, if you do an audio message, how to put a text message in front of that to let us know who it's for, what it's about, so people don't have to worry about it if it's not for them. So I give them the rules, the lay of the land, what they have access to, and then first domino. What are we knocking over first? Where to start? Here's the resource. Here's the module. Here's the exact video or videos I want you to start on. And here's how I'm going to hold you accountable. All right, I want you to show up to the next meeting. Let's get that booked. Let's get that on your calendar. Here we go. And then now they're digging into the resources. They're booked for their next coaching session or office hours. I tell them specifically what I want to see from them by that time frame. All right, we're getting them into action, and they are going to see that we are showing up for them. All right, so many people show up, sign up for things, and A, they don't take action. It's just sitting there, and they don't ever do anything about it. But B, the coach doesn't show up either. They're not chasing them down. They're not showing them any initiative of, hey, I really want you to get traction. So I know that at a minimum, I'm going to show up for my part and go, hey, I'm ready to put in work. Let's connect. I'm going to match your energy. You show up for me, I'm going to show up for you twice as hard. And you come and match my energy again, I double up. All right. So that's the mindset that I want you to have as you coach people through this type of an offer. All right. So we went through a lot today. And the key next step, the key next domino for you all to consider is where are you at currently? So some different options. You may have 0 offers. Then your next decision is easy. Start with the start anytime consulting offer. Build that. That can be ready to go this afternoon. It's simple. Don't overthink it. All right. Do not overthink it. Now, I know some of you already have things like that. You've got some side-by-side offers on different coaching and different things like that. The next question would be, how are they selling? A lot of you have offers You have lots of offers and very few, if any, are selling. Like we're not making any money. That's something else to consider and go, okay, maybe back to the drawing board, maybe start back with a start anytime consulting offer and just have, sometimes you just have to be known as the problem solver within your niche. And then you kind of figure it out from there. So instead of going on your show and going, oh, sign up for my super duper blah, blah, blah course, you just got to go, hey, are you struggling with X, Y, or Z? If so, hop on a discovery call. Let's talk about working together, how I can help you with this. You just need to be known as the pain point problem solver and stress out less about all these offers and launching and all this other crap. I mean, do you guys see me doing any of this stuff? And I have in the past. I test a few things every once in a while. I do some offer awareness, but I'm selling things like my podcast launch blueprint and these consulting offers that I never talk about unless I'm teaching this type of a concept. Like you're not going to get an ad roll about those offers in the intro and outro. What do you get in the intro and the outro? Discovery call. Are you struggling with podcast launch, growth, or monetization? If so, hop on a podcast profit potential discovery call. You guys hear me do this all the time. Newsletter, social media, podcast. All right. So I'm trying to lead by example and show you that this can be much more simple than what you're making it. And I know you see big brands doing these big launches and making millions of dollars, but newsflash, we aren't a big brand. I'm not a big brand. I mean, you might be, but probably not. So we have to operate a little bit differently. We have to be more nimble. We have to be able to adjust and pivot and solve problems. That is the focus of every offer that we create, is solving problems. You become known in your niche as the problem solver of a person that can solve X, Y, and Z problem that's highly relatable to your audience. You will start to sell offers. All right. Whether it's a consulting offer, group coaching, whatever. And these are all just what I taught today. This is just a basket of ways that people can pay you to help them solve problems. All right. I'm going to put a pin in it there before I get too motivational on you. I appreciate you guys. This is an important topic. It might be a 2 listener. You might have to go back and kind of take some more notes, re-listen to it a little bit. But I'm excited on this. This type of content is what I needed back in 2015, 16, 17, when I was just in the abyss of figuring out how to be a podcaster, a content creator, and a content entrepreneur with an online business. So hopefully you found this helpful. I'm excited to teach on this. Again, I'll put all my academy information in the show notes if you guys kind of want to take that next step and, take a peek at actually having me help you build all this stuff. That's a great option. All right. Pod Pals, appreciate you. I will send you out into the world wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. We'll see you on the next episode. If you need a little bit of help with your podcast launch, growth, or monetization strategy, head on over to my website, www.podcastingbusiness.school, and get signed up for a free podcast profit potential discovery call. During this free 20-minute discovery call session, I'm going to analyze your podcasting brand and tell you where I think you're missing on an opportunity for profits. Next, I'm going to tell you exactly what I suggest that you do as your next step. If I've got an offer that would help you accelerate the process, we can discuss working together as well. So head on over to my website, www.podcastingbusiness.school, and click on the Discovery Call button to schedule your free Podcast Profit Potential Discovery Call.